You step into an untidy backyard and, well, your body reacts before your mind does. Damp soil presses underfoot. Grass clings to your shoes. The air carries a faint sour smell. This environment looks harmless, but history proves otherwise. Across centuries, neglected outdoor spaces served as silent incubators for disease, injury, and long-term weakness. In pre-industrial towns, the backyard functioned as an extension of the home. Cooking scraps, animal waste, and ash piles settled there. Bare ground absorbed moisture and rot. People slept indoors, yet the health threat formed outside. Pathogens traveled on shoes, hands, and tools. What happened in the yard followed families inside. The ground surface mattered more than people realized. Packed earth held moisture for days. Mud hardened, then cracked. Insects bred in those fissures. Fleas, ticks, and mites thrived close to human activity. These parasites carried typhus, relapsing fever, and other killers. Clean ground broke that cycle. Neglect sustained it. Gravel yards appeared in many regions for a reason. Stones drained water fast. Footsteps sounded sharp and dry. The crunch signaled firmness. Parasites failed to nest. This was not decoration. It was survival engineering shaped by observation rather than theory. Grass, it brought comfort and danger at the same time. Long grass hid snakes, rodents, and sharp debris. Dew settled deep at night, and that moisture it clung to your ankles. Farmers, they learned to cut it short near living areas. They kept the taller growth at a distance. This separation, it reduced bites, stings, and infections. Organic debris, honestly, it changed everything. Rotting leaves produced warmth, and that warmth drew insects. Insects drew birds and rodents carried fleas. Fleas, in turn, carried disease. A single neglected pile could infect an entire household. Just visualize a heap of damp leaves collapsing inward. Hear the faint rustle beneath. That sound, right there, marked risk. Fire pits and ash dumps, they served a purpose. Ash dried the soil, and it raised alkalinity. Many microbes just failed to survive there. Families would spread ash across muddy patches. The gray surface felt firm and dusty underfoot. This practice, it faded with modern disposal, yet its logic remains intact. Standing water ranked as the deadliest feature of all. Barrels, puddles, and clogged drains created mosquito nurseries. Malaria, yellow fever, and dengue shaped history through backyards like these. Even shallow water held danger. The surface shimmered quietly. Larvae moved unseen below. Structures added another layer of risk. Sheds, lean-to walls, and fences trapped shade and moisture. Wood stayed damp. Mold formed. Spores traveled on air currents. Breathing changed indoors because of what grew outside. People connected coughs to climate rather than construction. Stored materials invited injury. Rusted tools, broken glass, and scrap metal hid beneath weeds. Cuts followed. Infection set in fast before antibiotics existed. Tetanus thrived in soil. A small wound ended lives. Survivors learned to keep tools visible, clean, and elevated. Waste disposal, it really defined household health. Before there were any municipal systems, families just managed their own refuse, Trenches, pits, and compost heaps. Those all required a fair bit of discipline. Distance mattered, and so did placement downwind. If you failed at that, you'd get flies. Flies would walk between waste and food without even pausing. Animal presence, it just multiplied the risk. Chickens, goats, and pigs, they often shared the backyard space. Their droppings, they contaminated the soil. Parasites could cross species lines, and children, they played barefoot. Their feet touched more than just earth. Worm infections would follow, silently draining strength over years. Sound, it carried warnings. The buzz of flies signaled decay. and the squeak of rats after dusk that meant stored grain or waste nearby. Silence after cleanup, well, that told its own story. A well-kept yard sounded empty, and that emptiness, it meant safety. You know, daily habits really determined exposure. Shoes worn outdoors, well, they stayed outdoors. Folks washed their hands before meals, and tools were always cleaned after use. These routines, they formed without any scientific language, just experience. They formed through loss, honestly. Families that ignored them, well, they disappeared from records. Historical households, they treated the backyard as a controlled zone. Paths stayed clear, edges stayed trimmed, and surfaces stayed dry. Every decision, it reduced contact with decay. This was practical knowledge, passed through action rather than instruction. Modern yards, they hide the same threats behind a layer of convenience. Plastic containers, they replace barrels but still hold water. Decorative mulch, it replaces leaf piles, yet it traps moisture just the same. The materials changed, but biology did not. Chemical control offers partial protection. It never replaces structure, you know. Drainage, sunlight, and order still matter most. History shows prevention works best when it removes habitat rather than just fighting symptoms. Visualize a clean yard at dawn. Dry ground, short grass, tools hung on hooks, no standing water, the air smells neutral, and footsteps sound firm. This scene, well, it mirrors centuries of lived experience. Neglect creates a different scene. Soft soil, hidden debris, insect noise rising with heat. Each detail signals stress on the body long before illness appears. Survival depends on reducing daily exposure. The backyard touches food, clothing, and skin. So, treat it as a living surface, not just a backdrop. Control what grows, rests, and hides there. Walk your yard with this lens. Look low, listen, smell, remove what traps moisture, raise what touches soil, cut back what hides ground, drain what collects water. History leaves no ambiguity. Untidy backyards weaken households. Order protects them. This knowledge endured plagues, famines, and migrations because it worked. Apply it now. Keep your outdoor space clean, dry, and visible. Your health depends on it more than modern comfort suggests. Subscribe to Life and Legacy for grounded historical insight that protects daily life. Share this with someone who overlooks their backyard. Let the past sharpen your present.